hooking up. That to me, I remember, not at the last Olympics, but maybe like the Olympics before, when all the news coverage was happening on it and stuff like that. I remember seeing some report where they were talking about, you know, the especially grand challenge of Olympic Village, where they've got to have all of the Olympiads
Oh,
staying and
I
stuff like that.
remember that.
And someone was talking about how like one of the biggest challenges is keeping them from turning it into basically a big fuck fest.
Hmm.
And I remember hearing that and thinking to myself, why in God's name would you want to stop that? We are literally talking about Olympiads, literal, actual human perfection from every corner of the world. Why would anyone, what kind of psychopath would you have to be
That's like
to
that's,
try
that
and
that
stop that?
that's like stopping the premise of the movie Twins.
Like I it was like like I like and I remember too, like because I can't remember if I was hearing it on the radio or what, but they're sitting there talking about like, yeah, no, it's real troublesome. They're always sneaking out at night, and you really got to be vigilant and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, you are wasting your life. You are complaining about the thing someone should not be doing. You should be sleep. If there's anyone who has to be sleeping on the job for the good of mankind, it's the poor sap who's on fuck duty at Olympic Village.
What a
Close your
terrible
eyes.
job description.
Yeah, turn the other way. Close your eyes. Let nature take its course. For the love of God.
I'm all the way with you though. There's like the fact that they're not allowed to have that is dumb. That is dumb
Yeah,
dumb. It's not like
I
you're gonna
I
get pregnant during the Olympics and not be able to compete tomorrow.
I know, right? I mean, what is there?
What's
I
the
honestly
reasoning
think
behind that? Do you know?
I don't know. I think it's twofold in my opinion. First of all, it's your basic Judeo-Christian bullshit that sex is bad and we just got to prevent it from happening anywhere. I think that's the major primary motivation.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little bit too
sec-
common to not have that as a
secondly,
theory.
secondly, I genuinely, honestly think there's racism involved. I honestly think that there are, especially like the Russian government certainly does not want any half Arab or half African babies coming out of their Olympic heroes.
Yeah, they were very not cool with Armenians.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm
yeah.
sure the Russians are not the only ones who feel that way. I'm sure some of the Arab countries probably feel the same way about Caucasians and Asians too. I think it's just your general.
You
We
know
don't
what?
want.
Speaking of Caucasians and Asians,
Mhm.
why the fuck is it Caucasian?
Well, I don't know.
Why is it not Caucasian? It's from the Caucasus Mountains. It's literally pronounced that way, and we are not Asian in any fucking way.
I was not there for that meeting. I don't know.
But also, my point kind of on that is a weird point, sure. But if white people were called Caucasian and not Caucasian, I bet they'd have less of a problem being identified as Caucasian.
They might. That is weird.
We're not
Wait,
Asian in any way.
are there white people that have a problem with being called Caucasian?
Cock, Asian. Many white people have a problem being called that.
I never ever even thought about it.
You've never had a comedian, you've never had anybody like go off on that or anything like never?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. Literally the first time I've ever heard that.
I'm astounded. I'm quite a bit astounded because like I've had people like I'm not Caucasian, I'm white. Like that like they don't want to be identified as anything that has to do with cock. One, and two, they're not Asian. And they're like there are a lot of white people that just they're racist against Asian. They don't want to be called Asian.
I guess, yeah, that is. I never really, yeah. I guess I never
But
put that
there's
together.
also the direct point that the name Caucasian is derived from the Caucasus Mountains. it should not be Caucasian. It should be Caucasian.
Hmm. Interesting.
My own little personal whatever.
Yeah.
Just a thought. Yeah.
I literally have no dog in this fight. I have always been of the
Mm.
opinion, and granted, this is basically, I feel this way mostly just for white people. Okay, um, I you know I have always felt that someone who leans on their heritage do that because they have nothing to show for their own life. Granted, I am going to say that the caveat to that, of course, is people in America who are of racial minorities that have been disenfranchised. There is a reason to need to stand up and say that you have no reason to be ashamed for being that race. Uh, but
For
but like, and that probably has mainly to do with like a lot of the what's an example? I remember a friend of my cousin's a few years back. I knew this guy for a grand total of one day. I was hanging out with my cousin. He was a friend of my cousin's. We were all hanging out. So I knew this guy for one day. But for that one day, I will never forget him because this motherfucker would not shut up about his Scottish heritage. Like he wedged that into the conversation 1,000 times into a day. And I swear to fucking God, I was just sitting there going like, you are about as Scottish as I am, motherfucker. Like, why do you keep bringing it up? You keep talking about like how you come from the great Scottish warrior clan. I'm like, motherfucker, you're from Idaho. You have you have zero connection to the Scottish people. You have
I
no clue
will say
of their
this:
heritage.
when I was growing up, people would ask me all the fucking time what I was mixed with.
Huh.
Italian, Arab, I like everything. And when I left there, not anymore. When I left, I was white. That was something that I had to get used to. And so I
Interesting.
do I do kind of understand that. So when everybody was asking me, "What are you?" I got curious. And before DNA testing or like genetics testing, all that stuff,
Right.
to find all that out, I was just genuinely curious because I would look at Arab people's noses and be like, "Are we?" No. I'd look at Irish people's eyebrows and be like,
Mm,
"Yeah, okay." Like I was
right.
constantly trying to figure out what I was because I was being asked that question all the time.